We face a mental health crisis, yet the answer might be ancient. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What if the key to our modern psychological resilience was understood over 2,000 years ago? The philosophy of Stoicism offers a complete toolkit for building lasting inner strength, anticipating principles that modern psychology now confirms. This video will show you how to apply these timeless ideas to shift your response to stress and challenge. We will explore core Stoic teachings like the Dichotomy of Control, which helps you focus only on what you can shape, and virtue ethics, which places your character at the heart of your well-being. You will see how these practices not only build resilience, but also support a life of calm and purpose. How does a worldview from the ancient world hold such thoughtful guidance for our contemporary lives? The single most powerful idea in Stoicism for building resilience is learning what you can and cannot control. This core principle, known as the Dichotomy of Control, was laid out by the former slave-turned-teacher Epictetus nearly 2,000 years ago. He began his famous handbook with a simple, life-changing assertion: "Some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are our opinions, our impulses, our desires, and our aversions." Essentially, everything that is our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, our reputation, and our public offices. Everything that is not our own doing. This mental division is not about giving up on the world. It is about reclaiming your inner world. Think of it as building an inner citadel. External events, like a critical comment from a coworker or a sudden change in the weather, will constantly test the walls. Your judgments and your reactions, however, are the fortress itself. By recognizing that another person's opinion is not in your control, you stop trying to manage the unmanageable. You instead focus your energy on your own response. Do you receive the feedback with defensiveness or with a curious mind? This shift in focus is where your power truly lies. Imagine you are waiting for an important email, refreshing your inbox every few minutes. The arrival of that email is outside your control, a fact that can create a lot of tension. Applying the Stoic distinction, you would acknowledge you cannot force the sender's hand. Your control rests solely in how you use the waiting time. You could choose to pace nervously, or you could turn your attention to another productive task, thereby reclaiming your mental peace. Now bring to mind a recent situation that caused you stress. Perhaps it was a delayed flight or a piece of unsettling news. How much of your worry was spent on factors you genuinely had no power over? The Stoic invitation is to catch that worry and gently redirect it. Ask yourself not what is happening to me, but what am I going to do about it? This simple but profound reframing is the first step toward unshakable calm. That feeling of being overwhelmed by a problem often shrinks when you shift your point of view. This is the essence of another powerful Stoic tool, a practice Marcus Aurelius used constantly. He called it seeing things from above, or objective representation. It is the disciplined act of mentally stepping back from any situation to observe it with calm detachment, as if you were looking down from a great height. In his private journal, now known as Meditations, he reminded himself to repeatedly look at things, seeing their emptiness and triviality, and to view them from above. He was training himself to strip away the emotional noise and see the event for what it truly was, a small part of a much larger whole. This ancient exercise is strikingly similar to a core technique in modern cognitive behavioral therapy, where individuals learn to create distance from their automatic thoughts, to see them as just thoughts rather than absolute truths. The Stoics were, in a sense, early pioneers of cognitive reframing. Imagine you are in the middle of a stressful conflict at work. In the moment, it feels all-consuming, a massive obstacle to your success and peace. Now try the view from above. Picture the entire building you are in, then the city, then the planet, and finally the vast expanse of the cosmos. From that cosmic perspective, how significant is this single disagreement? How much will it truly matter 1 week from now or 1 year from now? This is not about dismissing your feelings, but about giving them the appropriate amount of space in your life. It shrinks the problem down to its actual size, which is often far more manageable than our initial panic suggests. The next time you feel that familiar grip of stress, pause for just a moment. Ask yourself a simple question: how important will this feel in a decade? This small act of mental distancing can be the very thing that returns your sense of calm and control. The Stoics did not just advise accepting fate, they urged us to love it. This is the profound idea of Amor Fati, a Latin phrase meaning a love of one's fate. It is the radical practice of welcoming every single event in your life, the good and the challenging, not with passive resignation but with active embrace. The philosopher Epictetus, who knew immense difficulty firsthand, framed it as a guiding principle. "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish," he wrote, "but wish for things to happen as they do, and your life will be serene." This is not about pretending that hardship feels good. It is about recognizing that every obstacle is raw material for building your strength and character. Marcus Aurelius echoed this, advising himself to treat what blocks your path as fuel for the flame of your own growth. This ancient insight finds a powerful echo in modern psychology's concept of post-traumatic growth, where individuals do not just recover from hardship, but often find new meaning, deeper relationships, and a greater appreciation for life because of it. Amor Fati is the philosophical precursor to this powerful transformation. Imagine a career shift you once faced, perhaps a job you did not get or a project that changed course. In the moment, it felt like a pure disappointment, but what if you could see it through the lens of Amor Fati? That closed door forced you to look in a new direction, perhaps leading you to a path you would have never otherwise discovered. The shift was not a setback, it was a necessary redirection. The practice is to look back at any past challenge and ask a new question. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you ask, "What did this make possible for me?" How would your experience of that situation have changed if you had met it not with resistance, but with a quiet determination to find the opportunity hidden within it? That shift in perspective is where resilience stops being something you muster and starts becoming a part of who you are. The Stoics had a unique psychological tool for building resilience. They regularly visualized potential challenges ahead. This practice, known as Premeditatio Malorum, or the pre-contemplation of difficulties, was not an exercise in pessimism. It was a deliberate method to disarm the future of its power to shock and paralyze. Seneca captured its purpose perfectly when he wrote, "What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a setback." By considering a thing of this sort in advance, you soften the impact. The goal was to walk through potential hardship in their minds, not to feed anxiety, but to starve it. They were building inner strength against fear. This ancient technique finds a powerful parallel in modern therapeutic practices like exposure therapy, where individuals gradually confront concerns in a safe context to reduce their power. The Stoics were doing a form of this entirely within the theater of the mind. Think about a common worry, such as the dread of public speaking. The mere thought can feel unsettling. Now apply this thoughtful preparation. Instead of avoiding the thought, you lean into it. You mentally rehearse the scenario. What if your mind goes blank? What if the audience seems quiet? The Stoic practice is to then plan your response. If I forget my words, I will pause, take a breath, and glance at my notes. If the audience is reserved, I will remember that their reaction is not within my control. My effort and integrity are. By pre-deciding your reaction, you transform the unknown into a series of manageable steps. The event loses its edge because you have already faced it and moved through it in your imagination. This process does more than just prepare you for difficulty. It also has a surprising side effect. By consciously considering life without certain comforts, you suddenly appreciate their presence with a fresh and profound gratitude. The simple act of imagining life without your health makes you value your well-being today. The thought of a professional challenge makes you more engaged and present in your current work. Take a moment to bring to mind an upcoming event that holds some concern for you. It could be a difficult conversation or a presentation. Now walk through it mentally, not with fear, but with a Stoic's calm eye. What is the very worst that could reasonably happen? And more importantly, how would you navigate that outcome with character and resolve? Visualizing your own strength in the face of challenge is the ultimate preparation, turning potential adversity into a stage for your own resilience. For the Stoics, unshakable resilience was found in one place, your own virtue. They held a radical belief that our moral character, our ability to act with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline, was the only true good. Everything else, from wealth and reputation to health and social standing, they classified as preferred or dispreferred indifference. These external things have no inherent power to make you a good or bad person. Your virtue is your only real possession, the one thing that can never be taken from you unless you willingly surrender it. This focus completely internalizes the source of your well-being. When your happiness and self-worth are tied solely to your own choices and actions, the unpredictable swings of fortune lose their power to devastate you. This ancient insight beautifully mirrors a central tenet of modern psychology known as self-determination theory, which finds that our deepest sense of well-being springs from acting in ways that feel authentic and aligned with our core values. Marcus Aurelius captured this inward turn perfectly, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Your character is the ultimate fortress. Imagine a dedicated professional who puts their heart into a major project, only to have it publicly criticized or even rejected. The external outcome is a failure. A person whose sense of worth is tied to that outcome will be deeply affected, but someone guided by Stoic virtue would assess the situation differently. They would ask, did I act with integrity? Did I do my best with the knowledge I had? Did I treat others with fairness? If the answer is yes, then they can face that professional setback with profound inner peace. The failure of the project does not equate to a failure of their character. In fact, the difficult situation becomes a new arena to practice virtue, demonstrating resilience and grace under pressure. So, what does virtue mean in your own life? It is not an abstract philosophical term. It is the quiet voice that guides you to do the right thing, even when it is hard. It is the courage to speak up, the wisdom to listen, the justice to be fair, and the self-control to manage your impulses. How would your approach to a current challenge shift if your primary goal was not to achieve a specific external result, but to emerge from it with your character intact or even strengthened? What if the secret to resilience was not getting what you want, but wanting what you get? This is the heart of the Stoic discipline of desire, a practice that trains you to align your deepest wants with what is truly good and within your power. It is about consciously shaping what you long for, so that your happiness is no longer held hostage by external outcomes. The philosopher Epictetus, who began his life in servitude, offered a clear path. He said, freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of one's desires, but by the removal of desire. This does not mean abandoning all ambition. It means redirecting your desire toward the only thing that is truly yours to command, your own character and choices. When your greatest wish is to act with wisdom and integrity, you place your contentment on a foundation that cannot be shaken. This ancient wisdom finds a powerful echo in modern mindfulness, which teaches us to observe our cravings and attachments without being controlled by them. The constant chase for more, for different, for better, is a primary source of our unease. The discipline of desire asks you to step off that exhausting treadmill. Consider the modern wish for social validation. You might find yourself hoping for more positive engagement on a post or appreciation from a certain group. This longing places your inner peace in the hands of others, a fundamentally unstable arrangement. The Stoic shift is to turn that focus inward. Instead of wanting their approval, you cultivate the desire to express yourself authentically, to be fair in your judgments, and to remain undisturbed by the changing views of others. Your goal transforms from being praised to being praiseworthy. This internal reorientation fosters a profound and lasting stability. Or think of consumer longing, the urge for the newest device or the perfect wardrobe. That wanting creates a subtle tension, a sense that something is missing until you acquire the object. The Stoic practice is to examine that feeling. You ask, is this within my control? Is this necessary for a good life? Often, the answer is no. By loosening your grip on the desire itself, you reclaim the peace that the wanting had taken. Bring to mind one wish that currently causes you stress. Perhaps it is a specific professional achievement or a particular outcome in a relationship. Now, gently reorient that desire. What if your primary aim was not to achieve that specific external result, but to navigate the entire process with courage, fairness, and self-respect? How would that shift change your experience of the situation, transforming frustration into a quiet and steady purpose? Stoicism teaches that resilience is not passive. It is found in purposeful action. This is the discipline of action, the commitment to doing the right thing for the common good, regardless of the results that follow. Your power lies not in controlling the outcome of your efforts, but in the integrity of the effort itself. When you focus on your intention and your dedicated work, you build a deep well of perseverance that external setbacks cannot drain. This ancient focus on process over prize finds a powerful echo in modern psychology's emphasis on process-oriented goals, where the satisfaction comes from the engagement in the task itself, not just the final reward. Marcus Aurelius directed himself with this simple yet profound reminder that a person's worth is measured by the worth of what they pursue, and your own true worth lies in acting with justice, loving what is given to you, and speaking the truth. Your job is to do the right thing, period. The harvest is another's concern. Consider the act of volunteering for a community project, perhaps cleaning a local park. The value of your action is not determined by whether everyone notices your work or if the park stays perfectly clean forever. The value is inherent in the act itself, in the choice to contribute to the well-being of your community. You control showing up with a willing spirit and doing your part. You do not control the weather, the actions of others, or the long-term state of the park. When your sense of accomplishment is tied to the purity of your effort, you can work with a calm and steady purpose, immune to the frustration of imperfect results. Or think of a complex project at work. If your resilience depends on the project's universal acclaim, you set yourself up for potential disappointment. But if your resilience is rooted in the knowledge that you acted with diligence, collaborated with fairness, and did your best with the resources available, then no matter the final verdict, you can stand firm. The project might succeed or it might not, but your character, fortified by right action, remains unshaken. Bring to mind a recent action you took, perhaps a difficult conversation or a task you completed. As you reflect on it now, where was your focus primarily directed? Were you fixated on the outcome you wanted to achieve, or were you concentrated on the integrity and care you brought to the effort itself? How would shifting that focus change your definition of a day well spent? Before you react, pause. This Stoic discipline could be the key to your emotional resilience. The practice is known as the Discipline of Assent, and it was championed by Epictetus. He taught that we are disturbed not by things themselves, but by the views we form of them. An impression, the initial thought or feeling that pops into your mind, is not the problem. The problem is when we immediately give that impression our full and unquestioning agreement. Between the external event and your emotional reaction, there is a crucial space, a moment of choice. The discipline of assent is about learning to live in that space. It is the practice of intercepting your automatic thoughts and asking, is this impression true? Is it helpful? Is it the whole story? This ancient mental technology is a direct ancestor of the cognitive restructuring techniques used in modern cognitive behavioral therapy. Both approaches recognize that our feelings are not caused by events, but by the beliefs we hold about those events. By changing the belief, we can change the emotional response. Imagine you receive an email from a colleague that feels terse and critical. Your first impression might be a wave of defensiveness, a thought like, they think I am not doing my best. This is the automatic judgment. Without the discipline of assent, you might spiral into frustration or uncertainty, but with it, you pause, you question the impression. Is it absolutely true that they think I am not doing my best? Could there be another explanation? Perhaps they are under pressure themselves, or maybe their tone was unintentional. By refusing to assent to the initial, most negative interpretation, you create a buffer. You prevent a single email from derailing your afternoon. You reclaim the power to choose a more rational and less distressing narrative. This is not about suppressing your feelings. It is about understanding their true source. Epictetus offered a powerful metaphor. He said that when an unsettling impression strikes you, you should say to it, you are just an impression, and not necessarily the thing you claim to be. Then examine it and test it. This simple act of labeling a thought as just a thought is profoundly liberating. It allows you to see your mind at work, rather than being swept away by its currents. Today, try to notice just one automatic negative thought as it arises. It could be a flash of frustration in traffic or a moment of self-criticism. When you catch it, do not fight it. Simply observe it, then gently ask yourself, is this thought completely accurate? What is a more balanced way to see this situation? This small act of questioning is the very practice that builds a more resilient and tranquil mind. The Stoics regularly reflected on transition not to be somber, but to become more resilient and fully alive. This practice, known as Memento Mor, which means remember you must one day leave, was a cornerstone of their philosophy. It was not a dark fixation, but a powerful tool to ignite gratitude and purposeful action. By keeping the finite nature of life firmly in mind, they believed we could strip away the non-essential and focus on what truly matters. Seneca captured this spirit perfectly when he advised that we should treat each day as a complete life, telling us to go to bed contentedly and willingly, for the one who has learned how to face endings has unlearned how to be a slave. This is not about fear, but about liberation. Modern psychology explores a similar idea through theories about how awareness of our own impermanence can powerfully shape our values and behaviors, often pushing us to live more authentically. It also aligns with the core of mindfulness, which invites us to fully inhabit the present moment because it is the only one we truly have. Imagine you are about to begin a routine task you often postpone, like organizing a closet or finally learning a new skill. Now pause for just a moment and bring to mind the simple fact that your time is limited. This is not a sad thought, but a clarifying one. Suddenly, that mundane task can transform. It becomes part of the finite tapestry of your life, an expression of your choice to use your time well. The urge to procrastinate weakens because you recognize this day, this hour, is a gift not to be wasted. The worry about a minor social slight or a professional frustration loses its grip when held against the vast, beautiful backdrop of a single, precious life. How would your priorities shift today if you carried this gentle awareness with you? What would you start doing, and what would you confidently stop doing if you truly embraced the idea that your days are numbered? This reflection does not create anxiety, it creates urgency, the kind that leads to a life of deep appreciation and resilient purpose. The Stoics had a North Star for resilience, the figure of the sage. This was their vision of the ideal human being, someone who lives in perfect harmony with nature and reason, completely free from irrational distress. Yet this ideal was never meant to be a source of discouragement. No one, not even the great Stoic teachers themselves, claimed to have reached this state of perfect wisdom. Instead, the sage serves as a guiding point on the horizon, a constant reminder of what is possible for a human mind to achieve. The journey itself is where the value lies. Seneca beautifully expressed this, writing that even if we cannot be wise, we can still love wisdom, we can move toward it, and even if we fail to reach it, our efforts will have made us better. This ancient concept finds a powerful echo in the modern idea of a growth mindset, where the focus shifts from proving you are smart to improving and learning over time. It is about progress, not perfection. Think of a difficult conversation you need to have. In the heat of the moment, it is easy to react from a place of defensiveness or frustration. Now pause and ask a single question. What would a sage do in this situation? The sage would not seek to win the argument, but to understand. They would respond with calm reason instead of heated emotion, aiming for a just outcome rather than a personal victory. This simple mental shift does not require you to be perfectly wise. It only asks you to orient your actions toward wisdom. It turns a challenging moment into a practical exercise in building your own resilience. So, what is one quality of the Stoic sage that you find most compelling? Is it their unshakable courage, their profound sense of justice, or their deep inner peace? Choose just one this week and gently look for small, everyday opportunities to cultivate it in your own life. Stoic resilience is not just personal, it is deeply connected to our relationships with others. The Stoics had a profound concept for this called oikeiosis, a natural process where we gradually expand our circle of care from ourselves to our family, our community, and ultimately to all of humanity. This innate capacity for connection is the very bedrock of social resilience. It reminds us that we are not isolated beings meant to face challenges alone, but are fundamentally part of a larger whole. Marcus Aurelius captured this communal spirit perfectly when he wrote, "We are born for fellowship, and that to hinder another is to set oneself against the universal order." Your own strength is woven together with the well-being of those around you. This ancient insight aligns with modern research on social support, which consistently shows that strong, empathetic relationships are one of the most powerful buffers against life's difficulties. When we recognize our shared humanity, we ease the sense of isolation and begin to build networks of mutual support. Imagine a friend is navigating a significant professional disappointment. Your instinct to reach out, to listen without judgment, to simply be present, is a living expression of oikoiosis. In that moment, you are not just offering comfort. You are actively building resilience both for your friend and for yourself. Your friend gains strength from not feeling alone, and you reinforce your own capacity for compassion and connection. This creates a ripple effect of stability that makes the entire community more robust. The next time you feel your own resilience wavering, sometimes the most powerful step is to look outward. Consider one relationship in your life, one social bond you could gently strengthen this week. It might be a simple message to a family member or offering your full attention to a colleague. How can that small act of fellowship become a source of shared strength, fortifying your inner citadel by reinforcing the walls around you? The Stoics found resilience by aligning with the rational order of the universe itself. They called this governing principle logos, a divine reason that structures all of nature, from the turning of the stars to the growth of a single leaf. To live in accordance with nature was to live in harmony with this profound intelligence, trusting that everything happens as part of a coherent, interconnected whole. The founder of Stoicism, Zeno, taught that living consistently with nature is the same as living virtuously, for nature leads us to that point. This was not a call to simply spend more time outdoors, though that was part of it. It was an invitation to see your own life as a small but integral part of a vast, meaningful process. When you accept that you are a fragment of this larger system, your personal struggles begin to feel less like isolated catastrophes and more like the natural ebb and flow of a great river. This ancient trust in a rational universe finds a fascinating echo in modern ecotherapy, where immersing oneself in the natural world is shown to significantly lower stress and restore a sense of perspective. The anxiety that comes from feeling you are fighting the entire world alone begins to dissolve when you realize you are not fighting the world, but are part of it. Think of a time you felt overwhelmed by a personal challenge, pacing in a room with your thoughts circling. Then you stepped outside. The sheer scale of the sky, the steady presence of a tree, the quiet rhythm of your own breath in the air somehow made the problem feel smaller, more manageable. This is not an escape from reality, but a return to a more fundamental one. You are not just distracting yourself, you are realigning with the logos, with the timeless order that puts your immediate concerns into a wider, more peaceful context. Try this simple practice. Sometime in the next day, find just a few minutes to be in a natural setting, whether a park, a garden, or simply by an open window. As you are there, let your awareness expand beyond your own thoughts. Notice the intricate patterns in a leaf, the vastness of the sky, the feeling of the ground beneath you. Then gently ask yourself, how does connecting with this larger system affect my sense of personal struggle? Does it make my challenges feel less like a battle against an indifferent world, and more like a natural part of a journey I am equipped to navigate? This is the Stoic path to inner harmony, a resilience built not on controlling the river, but on learning to flow with its current. For the Stoics, true joy was a calm and resilient state of mind, not a fleeting emotion. This concept, known as euthymia, refers to a soul in good spirits, steady and trusting in its own path. It is the profound tranquility that comes not from getting what you want, but from wanting what is good and right. Seneca described this state as the peace that comes from a good conscience, a soul at peace with itself, and a character that is consistently kind and well-ordered. This stands in clear contrast to the chase for momentary pleasures, which are often followed by a craving for more, leaving us on a roller coaster of wanting and disappointment. Euthymia is the stable ground you stand on while that roller coaster rattles by. Modern well-being research echoes this ancient wisdom, distinguishing between hedonic pleasure, the temporary high from external rewards, and eudaimonic well-being, the deep satisfaction that comes from living a life of purpose and virtue. The Stoics were pioneers of this eudaimonic path. Imagine choosing to spend a quiet evening reading a meaningful book or having a sincere conversation with a loved one, rather than scrolling through an endless feed of curated highlights. In that simple, virtuous activity, you are not seeking a jolt of excitement from the outside world. You are cultivating an inner resource of contentment. The joy is found in the act itself, in the exercise of your mind and your capacity for connection, not in any external validation it might bring. This is a joy that no change in circumstance can easily take from you. So, take a quiet moment to reflect. What is one reliable source of your own tranquility that does not depend on anything outside of your own choices or character? Perhaps it is the quiet focus of a morning walk, the satisfaction of completing a task with care, or the simple act of pausing to breathe. Identifying this inner sanctuary is how you begin to build a joy that endures. Feeling overwhelmed by your emotions, the Stoics had a system for that, a structured approach to emotional regulation that feels remarkably modern. They saw emotions not as random forces that happen to us, but as the direct result of our own judgments and beliefs. This means we are not passive victims of our feelings, we are active participants in their creation. The Stoic system provides tools to intervene in this process, offering a way to navigate inner turbulence with wisdom instead of being swept away by it. Seneca, in his powerful essay on anger, gave a clear instruction for the moment a strong feeling begins to stir. The greatest remedy for anger is delay, he advised. Tell yourself to wait. This initial pause is the most critical step, creating a space between the trigger and your response. In that brief window, you regain your ability to choose. This ancient technique is a direct precursor to what modern psychology calls cognitive reappraisal, where we reassess a situation to change its emotional impact. The Stoics were teaching emotional intelligence long before the term existed. Imagine you are in a meeting and a colleague publicly questions an idea you worked hard on. The immediate, hot flash of frustration or surprise is the first impression. Without a system, you might respond with a sharp remark, a reaction you could later wish you had handled differently. But with a Stoic pause, you take one quiet breath. You do not immediately agree with the thought that this person is dismissing you. You examine the cause. Could they be under pressure, or perhaps they did not fully grasp your point? By delaying your reaction, you allow your rational mind to catch up with your emotional impulse. This simple act of pausing prevents the situation from escalating and protects your own peace of mind. It builds resilience because you are no longer at the mercy of every passing feeling. You become the calm in your own storm. The next time you feel a wave of frustration or worry begin to rise, try this. Before you speak or act, grant yourself just a moment of silence. In that space, ask yourself a gentle question. Is my current interpretation of this event the only one possible? This small, deliberate pause is your first step toward mastering your inner world. In an age of consumerism, the Stoics knew that wanting less was a superpower for resilience. They saw the relentless pursuit of more not as a path to happiness, but as a chain that binds us to fortune's whims. By deliberately reducing our attachment to material comforts and possessions, we build a profound inner freedom. This practice makes us less vulnerable to the sudden shifts of life because our peace is no longer tied to things that can be taken away. The Roman teacher Musonius Rufus put it plainly when he said that practicing simplicity is a form of training for the soul. He was not glorifying hardship, but highlighting its power as a training ground. By occasionally choosing to go without, we prove to ourselves that we can endure, that our core well-being is not dependent on external abundance. This ancient wisdom finds a clear echo in today's minimalism and voluntary simplicity movements, where people consciously choose to own less in order to live more fully. Think about the last time you decluttered a closet or a digital space. That feeling of lightness and clarity you experienced was not just about having fewer items. It was the tangible result of loosening your grip, of creating mental space that was no longer occupied by managing and worrying about your possessions. This is resilience in action. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your needs are simple and your happiness is not for sale. Consider your own digital life for a moment. What if you practiced a temporary digital detox, setting aside the constant stream of notifications and curated feeds? This modern form of simplicity is not about rejecting technology, but about reclaiming your attention from forces designed to capture it. In that reclaimed space, you rediscover your own thoughts and a deeper, more stable form of contentment. Now, bring to mind one possession or one small comfort you rely on daily. It could be a particular streaming service, a habitual snack, or even the constant background noise of a television. What would it feel like to consciously practice doing without it for just a short period, not as a punishment, but as a gentle exercise in strengthening your self-sufficiency? How might that small act of voluntary simplicity fortify your inner citadel against the fear of loss? Worried about what others think, the Stoics had a shield for that. Their entire philosophy provides a powerful defense against the sting of judgment and slander, teaching that your self-worth is something you build from the inside, never something you receive from the outside. This is where that inner citadel becomes most vital. The opinions of others, whether praise or blame, are like weather outside the walls. They may be pleasant sunshine or a harsh storm, but they cannot shake the foundation unless you open the gates and invite them in. Your virtue, your character, is the fortress itself. This ancient focus on internal virtue over external validation aligns with modern understandings of self-esteem, which distinguish between the fragile self-esteem dependent on constant approval and the secure self-esteem that comes from living in accordance with your own values. Marcus Aurelius, a man constantly surrounded by courtiers and critics, regularly reminded himself of this truth. He wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." How much more trouble we would avoid if we would only stop trying to guess what others are thinking, which we cannot know, and instead focus on our own actions, which we can control. The content of another person's opinion is entirely outside your jurisdiction, and therefore it is irrelevant to your moral character. Imagine you have shared a piece of creative work online and a negative comment appears. The initial impression is a jolt, a feeling of personal rejection. The untrained mind might immediately assent to this impression, believing the comment reflects your true worth. The Stoic practice is to pause in that moment. You examine the comment not as a verdict on your soul, but as a piece of data. Is there any useful feedback here that is within my power to use, a chance to improve my craft? If so, accept that part with gratitude. If not, recognize the comment for what it is, simply one person's view, and release it. Your goal was to act with courage in sharing your work, and you have already achieved that. The reactions of anonymous individuals cannot undo that virtuous act. Now, bring to mind a specific instance when a criticism, perhaps from a colleague or even a family member, caused you genuine discomfort. How much of that discomfort came from the words themselves, and how much came from the story you told yourself about what those words meant about you? What if you had met that moment with the Stoic shield, acknowledging the comment but firmly resting your sense of worth on the knowledge of your own sincere effort and good intentions? The criticism might have still been there, but its power to unsettle would have been disarmed. The Stoics ended each day with a simple practice that built lifelong resilience. Each night before sleep, they would pause for a quiet conversation with themselves, reviewing the hours that had passed. Seneca wrote about this habit in his letters, explaining how he would question his own soul. He asked, "What wrong did you do today? What virtue did you exhibit? What could you have done better?" This was not an exercise in self-criticism, but in gentle, honest accountability. Another teacher, Sextius, used a similar method, looking back on his day to identify which of his habits were being strengthened and which were being softened. This nightly review transformed each day into a living classroom for the soul. In our modern terms, we might call this journaling or reflective practice, a way to process experiences and consciously learn from them rather than letting days blur together. The goal is continuous growth, not perfection. To try this yourself, you need only a few quiet minutes at the end of your day. You can simply ask two straightforward questions. What did I do well today? Where did I act with kindness or courage? And what could I improve? Where did I react from a place of frustration or fear? The first question reinforces your resilient habits, celebrating the small victories of character. The second offers a gentle course correction for tomorrow, turning a misstep into a lesson without judgment. This practice builds profound self-awareness, the very foundation of emotional resilience. For the next 3 nights, commit to this brief review. You might be surprised by the subtle shift it creates, a growing sense of being the calm author of your own life, learning and strengthening with each setting sun. The Stoics saw every obstacle as a training ground for the mind. This perspective completely reframes the nature of hardship. Where we might instinctively see a setback, they saw a necessary exercise, a drill designed to strengthen our inner resolve. Personal trials, in this light, are not a punishment to be avoided but the raw material for building an unshakable character. This ancient mindset anticipates the very foundation of modern resilience training, where individuals are taught to view stress not as a threat, but as a challenge to be met and mastered. The philosopher Epictetus, who understood adversity from his earliest days, put it with characteristic clarity: difficulties are things that show what men are. He meant that a challenge is not a barrier to your path, it is the path itself. It is the very process that reveals your hidden capacity and forges your true strength. Consider the Roman senator Cato the Younger, a man who relentlessly trained his character by embracing discomfort. He would walk through Rome in unconventional clothing, not for attention, but to practice indifference to public opinion. He subjected himself to physical tests to prove that his peace did not depend on his comfort. His life was a continuous Stoic workout, preparing him for the immense political and personal challenges he would later face. In our own time, we see this principle in action whenever someone emerges from a period of intense difficulty with greater wisdom, deeper compassion, or a clearer sense of purpose. The experience itself becomes the crucible for their transformation. Bring to mind one current difficulty you are navigating, perhaps a demanding project at work or a tension in a personal relationship. Now gently reframe it. What if this is not a problem to be solved, but a specific training exercise for your patience, your courage, or your creativity? How does viewing this challenge as your personal Stoic workout change your relationship to the struggle itself? Individually, these Stoic tools are powerful, and together they form an unbreakable system of resilience. Each discipline reinforces the others, creating a virtuous cycle that strengthens your entire approach to life's challenges. Consider how the dichotomy of control creates mental space for cognitive distancing. When you can clearly see what is not yours to command, it becomes far easier to step back and view a situation from above. This calm perspective, in turn, makes it possible to truly embrace Amor Fati, to love your fate, because you are no longer struggling against realities you cannot change. This integrated approach reflects modern therapeutic models that combine cognitive, behavioral, and acceptance-based strategies for a more complete and lasting effect. Marcus Aurelius beautifully wove these threads together when he wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." In that single passage, we see the acceptance of what is, the loving embrace of one's circumstances, and the call to virtuous action within those circumstances. Picture navigating a significant professional transition, perhaps an unexpected role change within your organization. A single Stoic principle might offer some initial relief, but the full system provides a comprehensive response. You would first apply the dichotomy of control, recognizing that the company's decision itself is outside your command, but your attitude and your preparation for the new role are entirely within it. This clarity allows you to then use the view from above, seeing this shift not as a career-ending event but as one moment in the long arc of your professional life. From that calmer vantage point, you can practice Amor Fati, looking for the hidden opportunity in this redirection, perhaps a chance to learn new skills or meet different colleagues. Your nightly review then becomes the place to assess how well you navigated the day with these principles, reinforcing what worked and gently adjusting what did not. Now bring this integrated wisdom into your own life. Think of one recurring challenge where you often feel your resilience is tested. Which two Stoic practices could you consciously combine to face it with greater strength and composure? Could the discipline of desire, wanting only to act with virtue, be supported by the premeditation of difficulties, mentally preparing for the obstacles you might meet along the way? When these practices stop being isolated techniques and start working in concert, you are no longer just applying philosophy, you are living it, building a resilience that is as interconnected as the life you lead. Stoicism is not about blind positivity, it is about prepared realism, and that is why it builds deeper resilience. Where modern positive thinking often encourages us to ignore or deny difficult possibilities, Stoicism asks us to look at them directly and disarm them in advance. This is not pessimism, it is a form of strategic strength. The ancient Stoic Seneca put it plainly when he wrote that we should anticipate not that things might go wrong, but that they surely will, for the person who is not prepared considers only what they want to happen. This philosophy aligns with modern psychological concepts like defensive pessimism, where individuals harness their anxiety by thoroughly preparing for worst-case outcomes, and realistic optimism, which balances hope with a clear-eyed view of potential hurdles. The key difference lies in the foundation. Simplistic positive thinking can be a form of avoidance, a fragile shield that shatters when reality does not match our affirmations. Stoic realism is the unshakable inner citadel, built not on the hope that challenges will not come, but on the unshakable knowledge that you are equipped to meet them. Consider the possibility of a job transition. A purely positive approach might involve repeating affirmations that everything will be fine, mentally pushing away the worry. But when a layoff notice actually arrives, that strategy offers little protection, and the emotional fall can be severe. The Stoic approach is fundamentally different. Long before any difficult news, you would practice Premeditatio Malorum. You would mentally walk through the scenario. What would I do if my position changed? You would assess your finances, update your professional profile, and reaffirm that your self-worth is not tied to your job title but to your character. When the challenge then materializes, it is not a shocking catastrophe. It is a situation you have already faced and navigated in your mind. You are not starting from a place of panic, but from a place of prepared action. Your resilience comes not from denying difficulty, but from having a plan to move through it with virtue intact. So, bring to mind one area in your own life where you tend to rely on positive thinking, perhaps in your financial security or a personal relationship. Now, gently ask yourself, how could incorporating this Stoic realism actually make me stronger? What small, practical step could I take today to prepare my mind, not with fear, but with calm foresight, for a challenge I hope to avoid? That shift from avoidance to prepared engagement is where true, unshakable resilience is born. The Stoics knew that a resilient mind needs a resilient body. This was not about athletic glory, but about fundamental training for the will. The teacher Musonius Rufus argued that physical training was a vital part of philosophy, stating that it is not possible for a mind to be in a good condition while the body that houses it is failing. For the Stoics, caring for the body was a direct form of caring for the soul, a way to build the endurance required for a life of virtue. They advocated for moderate exercise, simple nourishment, and the voluntary practice of enduring minor discomforts like heat or cold. This was never about punishment, but about proving to yourself that your peace is not dependent on perfect physical conditions. This ancient understanding of the body-mind link beautifully anticipates modern psychosomatic health, where our physical state directly influences our mental state, and practices like biofeedback, where we learn to consciously regulate bodily signals of stress. You can frame your own modern exercise routine as a Stoic discipline. That morning run is not just about fitness, it is a practice in perseverance, a daily reminder that you can push through resistance. The growing trend of deliberate cold exposure, a brief cold shower for instance, is a perfect contemporary example. The initial sensation is a test. Your instinct is to move away from the feeling, but by choosing to stay and breathe through it, you are not just building physical resilience, you are training your mind to face any sudden, unexpected event with the same calm determination. This week, choose one small physical challenge to undertake with this Stoic intention. It could be taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or a 5-minute walk in brisk weather. As you do it, consciously connect the physical act to your inner strength. Each step is a brick in the wall, each breath a reminder that your will is stronger than your immediate comfort. How might this simple, embodied practice change your relationship to other, non-physical challenges you face? Great leaders throughout history have used Stoicism to stay resilient and clear-headed in challenging times. This ancient philosophy offers a robust framework for modern leadership, grounding decisions in timeless virtues rather than fleeting pressures. At its heart, Stoic leadership is guided by 4 essential qualities. Wisdom provides the discernment to see situations clearly, free from emotional distortion. Justice ensures decisions are made for the common good, not personal gain. Courage gives the strength to make difficult choices, and temperance maintains balance and perspective in both success and setback. These principles align with contemporary leadership models that champion emotional intelligence and ethical integrity as the foundation of lasting success. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who led through periods of conflict and widespread difficulty, constantly reminded himself of his duty, writing, "A king's role is to do good and be criticized." This captures the Stoic leader's resolve to act justly regardless of external approval. Imagine a team leader facing a significant project setback, perhaps a missed deadline that is causing widespread concern. An untrained leader might react from a place of panic, assigning blame or making rushed decisions to placate stakeholders. A leader applying the dichotomy of control, however, would first pause to separate the landscape. The missed deadline itself and the team's initial anxiety are outside their direct control. What lies within their power is their own response, how they communicate the situation, the support they offer their team, and the revised plan they construct with clear, rational input. By focusing their energy exclusively on these actionable items, the leader can navigate the crisis with a calm, focused determination that stabilizes the entire team and turns a setback into a showcase for resilient leadership. If you hold a leadership role, consider one upcoming decision that feels clouded by external pressure or internal worry. How could you approach it with greater Stoic clarity? What would it look like to make virtue your primary goal, prioritizing wisdom and fairness over the mere appearance of success? This shift in focus does not just build better outcomes, it forges a legacy of character. Our digital world creates new forms of stress, but the Stoics already had the antidote. The constant stream of notifications and curated social feeds can feel like an assault on our peace, yet these are precisely the kind of external noises the Stoics trained themselves to navigate. The discipline of assent, that crucial pause between an impression and your reaction, becomes a vital tool when a new message arrives or you see a highlight reel from someone else's life. Epictetus offered a timeless shield for this very moment when he advised, "Do not be troubled by things that are outside your control. That notification is an external event." Your decision to immediately check it or to feel a pang of envy at a friend's vacation photo is where your power lies. This ancient practice aligns perfectly with the goals of modern digital wellness, which encourages us to be intentional with our technology rather than being controlled by it. Think about the impulse to check your phone during a quiet moment. That urge is the impression. The Stoic practice is to notice the urge without immediately obeying it, to ask if this action serves your tranquility or disrupts it. When you see a post that triggers social comparison, you can apply cognitive distancing. See that post not as a statement of your own inadequacy, but as a single, curated moment in another person's much larger and more complex life. This mental step back shrinks the envy down to its true size, a fleeting impression that you do not have to accept as truth. You can even use Premeditatio Malorum for the fear of missing out. What is the worst that could happen if you disconnect for an evening? You might miss a meme or a group chat. By mentally preparing for that minor outcome, you disarm its power to make you feel anxious or left out. This week, challenge yourself to a 1-hour digital detox, approached not as a punishment, but as a Stoic exercise in strengthening your inner citadel. For that 1 hour, your goal is not to avoid your devices, but to practice the discipline of desire, wanting the quiet and space you are creating more than the potential distraction you are leaving behind. Observe how that intentional silence affects your mental peace. Does the world feel less urgent when you are not constantly reacting to its every chime and flash? You do not have to practice Stoicism alone. Ancient and modern communities show the power of shared resilience. The original Stoics understood this deeply, gathering in public spaces like the Stoa Poikile, a painted colonnade in Athens, to walk and talk through life's difficulties together. These were not just classrooms, they were living support systems where individuals held each other accountable to a life of virtue. Today, this tradition thrives in online forums, local reading groups, and virtual meetups where people from all over the world gather to discuss how to apply these ancient ideas to modern problems. This mirrors the powerful role of contemporary support groups and mastermind circles, where shared commitment transforms individual effort into collective strength. Seneca beautifully captured the spirit of this communal learning when he wrote to his friend Lucilius, advising him that we need to set our souls in a place where they can find nourishment, for alone they are starved. We ought to choose the best and to keep in their company. Your resilience is not meant to be built in isolation. It is reinforced through conversation, through shared experience, and through the gentle reminders of others walking the same path. Consider the power of joining a Stoic reading group, whether online or in your local community. In that space, a challenging passage from Marcus Aurelius becomes a collective puzzle to solve. A personal difficulty you are facing can be reframed through the thoughtful questions of others who share your philosophical vocabulary. This is not about getting answers handed to you, but about strengthening your own reasoning through dialogue and mutual support. The very act of explaining a Stoic principle to someone else deepens your own understanding and commitment. To make this real in your own life, consider a simple but profound step. Share one insight you have found most helpful from this exploration with someone you trust. It could be the dichotomy of control, the view from above, or the idea of Amor, Fati. In that act of sharing, you do more than just pass along information. You begin to build your own Stoic network, creating a small circle of shared resilience that makes the entire journey stronger and more sustainable. Modern science is now catching up to what the Stoics understood about building a resilient mind. The entire framework of cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most widely practiced and evidence-based forms of modern psychology, rests on a core principle that is pure Stoicism. The founder of CBT, Dr. Aaron Beck, identified that our emotions are not caused by events themselves, but by our beliefs about those events. This is the foundational ABC model, where an activating event leads to a belief, which then causes a consequential feeling. This is a direct echo of Epictetus, who stated we are disturbed not by things, but by the views which we take of them. The therapeutic process of cognitive restructuring, where individuals learn to challenge and change unhelpful thought patterns, is the modern clinical application of the Stoic Discipline of Assent. It is the same practice of examining an impression and asking, is this absolutely true? Research on resilience further validates the Stoic focus on virtue. Studies consistently show that individuals who have a strong sense of purpose and a commitment to their values, who act with integrity even under pressure, demonstrate far greater psychological fortitude. This is the empirical proof for the Stoic claim that anchoring your well-being in your own moral character provides a stability that external circumstances cannot shake. Marcus Aurelius offered a quote that sounds like it could have come from a modern therapist handbook when he wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This profound psychological insight recognizes that our mental habits shape our fundamental experience of reality. A well-known therapeutic technique for managing anxiety is called decatastrophizing, where you walk through the worst-case scenario and plan your response. This is precisely the Stoic practice of Premeditatio Malorum, not as fearful rumination, but as a method to build confidence and reduce the power of the unknown. Both ancient and modern approaches understand that by facing our concerns in the safe space of our mind, we prepare ourselves to meet them with calm resolve in reality. As you reflect on the ideas shared, which single Stoic principle feels most validated to you, either by your own life experience or by the confirming voice of modern science? Is it the power of pausing before you react, or the profound peace that comes from focusing only on what you can control? Stoicism's ancient framework offers a complete system for the very resilience modern psychology now confirms. It systematically predicted the core components of a robust mind, from the foundational distinction between what we can and cannot shape, to the radical embrace of every circumstance, and the vital mental space created by stepping back from our initial impressions. These are not isolated tips, but interconnected gears in a single machine for living. The distinction between what we can influence and what we cannot establishes your field of action. Loving your fate fuels your journey with purpose, and viewing thoughts from a distance grants you the clarity to navigate it all. Together, they build an unshakable inner stability. Marcus Aurelius left us a powerful image for this strength, writing, "The soul becomes an impregnable citadel when it withdraws into its own self-contained excellence." This is the ultimate gift of Stoic practice, a fortress of calm that no external storm can breach. Your journey does not require a complete life overhaul. It begins with a single, small step. Choose just one principle to live with this week. Perhaps you will pause each morning to acknowledge what is truly within your power, or you will meet one minor frustration with the question, "How can I welcome this moment?" These small, daily exercises accumulate into a profound transformation. We would love to hear which practice you choose. Share your experiences in the comments below and join a community dedicated to building resilience together. For more guides to applying this ancient wisdom to modern life, subscribe and turn on notifications. Your inner strength